All right, what is up, guys? Road Up First here, and we're back with another episode just to finish Ahiru no Sora, the newest episode. I think it was like 33, I believe. I'm not sure. You know about the title, but it was called Life. I know that much. So if you're new to the channel, what we do is basically break down the episodes, kind of talk about what happened and what we think may potentially happen in the future, things like that. What we like, dislike, all that good stuff. So first and foremost, yeah, let's jump into it. And thank you for watching, I guess. And so the episode began and it started basically where it ended last, and that was with Sora busting into his mom's hospital room. So that continued right off, and it's how always. It's kind of a trend, and I mean, it's if I guess every anime basically it just starts off where it left off, but sometimes they might jump somewhere else here and there. But that's where they started because they could have started this a different way. They could have started this by recapping the game or the aftermath. They could have started a whole bunch of different ways, but they started right where they left off. Ended. Sora saw his mom, and I guess it was a big foreshadowing earlier, but by the fact that he actually was seeing her so early, but that could also have been due to the fact that they lost. But it was just a lot of foreshadowing around what was gonna happen next, just based off of the actions and things like that. And let's kind of get into so basically they talked. Not much really went on there, but yeah, she just apologized for basically feeling like it's her fault that he's like short or whatever, small. But he's like, no, it's fine. Um, they had a moment. And then they pretty much jumped around after that. And the next thing we knew, and this was later on in the episode, but I want to stick on this topic about him and his mom for the moment. But this is a little later on in the episode. She that we found out she passed when the teacher busted in and told the other players. So we know that she passed, and it was actually really, it kind of threw me for a loop. Like I said, it was foreshadowed, but at the same time, at the end of one of the episodes where she went back home, she was, one just thinking about being a coach, right? So like she said, yeah, that's a great idea to be a coach. So that really right there made me think, oh, well, okay, she may get better and then, come coach the team. But yeah, there was just wishful thinking on her part, not knowing already. But apparently they are like Sora knew, most of the coach family members already knew that she was real close and didn't actually have much time to live. So many problems going on there. So it actually wasn't that big of a surprise to put like Sora and his family. But yeah, it was definitely who actually seemed to take most of the blunt of that death was actually the friend Sora's friend. Um, well, I never learned her name, but the other girl that was really close to the mom as well. So she took probably had most of the emotions for the mom's passing more than anyone in that episode. But yeah, so moving on, that's like the only character's name I probably don't know that I should know. I have no clue. I never learned her name yet, but yeah. So moving on, Sora's mom passed. So that right there was, I guess, a big blow, and that right there still leaves a lot to be known about the future for Sora, and I guess mainly that only really affects him most, but that leaves a lot to be desired of what happens next with him, right? So that right there, we are kind of still unknown about, right? And as far as the passing, that and this is why this anime is so great as it is besides just being a sports anime, it has drama. Like even Haku, right? It doesn't. They don't have no deaths going on. Most of the problems are like between the players and things like that. It's not never really like any outside problems. And this is one of the few sports animes where actually like there's a death really. I don't even know any other ones to where it's like anyone's parents have health problems or anything like that. So this is one of the few ones. Obviously, there's other ones where like they're motivated by like outside things, maybe like a sibling or something like that. But this is the first one where it really was really revolved around that relationship, and now she's gone. So that takes her out of the story at the same time, as much as she was in it earlier on. But now I guess we won't really see much about that situation no more. And like I said, when I said it's much to be, we don't know about Sora yet, and that's mainly from his motivation. His motivation was to get to the intern high to really, I guess, make his mom proud and to basically see his mom, because she didn't want him around during this time because she knew how bad she was and she didn't want him to see all that. So that's really the reason why. That's why he wanted to do this whole thing to begin with, right? So it's a real wrench thrown in there now that she's gone about his passion for the game, his motivation, things like that. So it's a lot to see there. And moving, okay. I think we talked enough about that. I can't think of much left, but if we do, we'll come back to it. So, but yeah, so that was sad. Most part, you may have felt even emotions after seeing that or so. But yeah, it definitely makes it it helps the plot. I really enjoy seeing things that's just more than just the game itself. So what else we learned, which I actually accidentally said earlier, was that they lost. They lost the game. That was one of the cliffhangers that I was a little upset about last episode or last video I made. And that was we learned that they lost actually. So um, was wishful thinking that Sora would have, came up with a steal block or something. He actually did contest the shot, which is something I did say, but the player still made it over him, I guess, because obviously Sora's height, maybe. And that guy was just, I think, knocking down shot after shot. So, anyways, yeah, so they won, and it makes sense, right? If you really go back and think about it, um, Sinjo's team, they had so many flashbacks, so many backstories, talked about so much of their past. It made it like it make you like didn't care if they really won because you like really felt for them too. Like, oh wow, they have a team that really they built. You know what I'm saying? This is like their first game, official game as a team, and it makes sense, right? And I even elaborate this earlier about why it almost you couldn't tell which way the game would go besides the actual game. It wasn't obvious who would win because Sora's team, right? Obviously they're the main Kuzu's team, they're the main team. We're thinking the main team is gonna always win, but then when you think about it, they don't have third years on their team. They have second years and freshmen, right? So they have more games to play, even if they lose now. The other team, they had more games, but the captain and their two original players on the team, they would have been done. That was their only game they got to play, and they would have been done. So they had a lot on the line. Both teams had a lot on the line. But if you really think about it, I guess Senju did have more on the line than Kuzu's team. Just mainly off the effect that Kuzu can always still play again. Um, was that so? Yeah, but Sinjo, I mean, they won, and they're moving on. So Kuzu's out the tournament, um, and eliminated, and I don't know if they will be able to play any more games right now. Right, I don't know if they'll be able to play any more games this year, or do they gotta wait till next year? Are they gonna have to have a whole nother year of practice, or what? What I have no clue if they still have a chance to make it into the inter. I'm pretty sure they had to win this game to qualify, but so yeah, I don't. I think they're out of it. I don't know as far completely. I'm not 100% sure on how that whole thing works. I know somebody's gonna comment on it for me about how that system works and if they're done for the year completely or if they have another year. So let me know that in the comments. Do they have another? Do we have to wait a whole another year for them to play more games? Or do we? Or do they? Will they be able to play against other teams, just not for the interim high? I don't know. Just let me know about that. I'm a little confused on that aspect. But I know for them to have made the interim, I know they have to win this game. I know that much. All right, so moving on. Let us shift our focus to Kite because that was probably the only other really major event. Everything else was kind of minor going on besides the final event. Kite was basically recruited by the other coach that was watching, and this is the same coach that Sora's mom knew about. They were like friends in college or so, and as well as that, not only that, he was the first one to basically say when everyone thought Kuzu kind of had it in the bag. He was kind of the first one to say anything can happen in the game of basketball, and he was like the first one to say that and first one to kind of like I wouldn't count Sinjo out yet. So we saw a lot about him in that last game, and knew you could tell he knew a lot as a coach, and I'm sure when they come across him again, he'll be like probably the worst, biggest threat they have to face in my opinion. But as far as like coaches go, having like a good coach making the difference, I think he'll definitely have that impact. But yeah, so he wanted to recruit Kite because he saw potential in Kite, and he actually said the rest of the team was basically garbage except for Mokichi. He said Mokichi was all right, but he wouldn't take him as a player. But he said he was okay. Everyone else was just kind of garbage. So he even said Chiaki, Soro, and he saw no value in Momo Haru, which not isn't the biggest surprise. But yeah, even he saw no value in neither of those other three starters or any of the bench players. So that made the interesting. So Kai, basically, we learned later on he denied it. I thought that was something. I was surprised they told us his answer so early. I was pretty sure they were gonna maybe even drag that out for 2, 3 episodes. I was very shocked that they just went ahead and straight up he just denied it. But yeah, so yeah, really shocking there. Not really shocking. As soon as I saw the coach talking to Kai, I almost knew what was gonna happen next. But yeah, look, still a little surprised. Like I said, mainly just on the fact that Kite just immediately rejected it, like almost like that same day, I think. So, anyways, yeah. Okay. The other guys were kind of soaking in the locker room, which led up to the final event. They and Nate were about to pretty much smoke cigarettes, and that is what led to the gym catching on fire. Now, the gym catching on fire basically put the nail in the coffin, as well as the nail, and we don't know really what's gonna happen next. Because at first, this episode has it kind of it had a lot of emotions in it. It's first, if you, especially if you didn't know who won that game, when you found out they lost, that probably hit you hard. When you found out his mom died, that probably hit you hard. So it's already a lot of emotions going on. And Kite, you thinking, oh man, we might lose Kite too. So it's probably a lot going on in your head doing that. And to make things worse, the building caught on fire. So that right there was like the nail in the coffin for Kuzu's like team. Not like to say it ended them, but yeah, it just like I guess salt in the wound. Let me say it like that. So one, okay, we'll basically do a little recap. And basically throughout the whole episode, everybody was pretty much doubting themselves for their mistakes they had and things like this. So it was like everyone, everyone messed up this episode. I don't. Is the only person that didn't mess up. I want to say was, if I can think correctly, Sora. Sora might not have messed up. He's like the only person I cannot think of him doing anything wrong besides. No, I really can't think of anything he did just like terrible. Everyone else I know had messed up or did, especially in that last few minutes. But Sora, I'm pretty sure the only one that didn't do anything wrong. At least as far as I can remember. Besides, like anything, like nothing, like super. Like he might have made some turnovers at the beginning of the game. It don't really matter. When they went up by 16 or whatever, it doesn't matter if you made turnovers like the first half or whatever. But I think later in the game, I'm pretty sure he's the only one that didn't make a mistake besides passing out. But anyways, so the whole team kind of had a little sulk moment. And that's kind of what happened there. And led up to the gym catch. I think it was the gym, not just the locker room. The whole gym caught on fire. So now that leaves another big hole, and we don't know how the heck are they gonna practice now, right? That's another big. We don't like know how they're gonna practice, even if they were gonna still practice. So we know one thing. We know. Okay, let's recap what we don't know and what we do know, right? We don't know. Okay. I think it'd be quicker to know what we do know, right? So we know they lost. We know Kuzu's team lost. We know Sora's mom passed. We know Kite is gonna stay on the team. I think those are the main things we know. What we don't know is about pretty much everyone else, right? So we don't know what's up with Sora. We don't know what's up with Mokichi. We know what's up with Mokichi, but we don't know what's up with even Chiaki. I was even I don't mean I don't really know what's up with him. I think I don't know. I just don't even know about them. I think they're so used to losing that maybe they aren't as devastated as maybe the rest. But Aki, Momoharu, and Chucky, we don't know just anybody. We don't really know what's going on anymore with that. So the gym burning down really leaves us in a mist, right? We don't know how they're gonna practice anymore. or what? Obviously, it's gonna probably get fixed, but are they gonna have to practice somewhere else in the meantime? Are they gonna have to work on like other things, like out, like like maybe running, fundamental stuff, footwork, things like that? So it's a lot left to be desired about what's to come, and we know there's another episode coming out next week, so that's good. And I think the next episode really should be informative. I like episodes like this, and I love plot moving episodes, but at the same time, it left so much smoke in the air. It was hard to see what's coming next, right? So we don't really know gonna happen next, but can't wait for next episode. Leave a comment. I don't even have predictions for this, so leave a comment, leave a like if you enjoyed it. Um, if you really enjoyed this, subscribe to the channel. If you watched any of my videos before, thank you for watching them again. Thank you for support. Like I said, I really, really enjoyed this episode, and I just can't wait for the next one. And we should be in for something good. At least, hopefully, it's not a depressing episode. I don't. I think this one was depressing enough, right? So hopefully, yeah, we get a decent one. But we already know Sora's gonna bounce back.